We all have a story. Your story is not my story, and my story is not yours. However, we can find joy, hope, and emotional healing even through our most painful moments in life. Let's walk and take this journey of healing together, one step at a time, because your story does not define you. Hey y'all, we made it. It is 2026, y'all. We made it into 2026. To God be the glory. I am so excited to have you here with me today on Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast. I am Dr. Niesha, the host of Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast, and I am so glad that we are here together in this space. Look, y'all. I'm looking forward to what 2026 has in store for us and the things that are going to take place. I am so grateful to be moving forward in 2026 and moving with intention and purpose. And that's one of the things that we are going to talk about today. We are going to talk about how we are going to embrace 2026 with intention and purpose. Look, if this is your first time joining me on Your Story Does Not Define You, the podcast, I want to say welcome. Thank you for tapping in and tuning in with your girl. I encourage you to download this podcast episode. I encourage you to share it with your friends, with your family, with your coworkers, and tell everybody about these conversations that we are having on Your Story Does Not Define You, the past podcast. If you've been rocking with me since we started, I just want to say thank you. Thank you again for your continued support, for showing up, and for listening and tuning in. I appreciate you so much. So look, y'all, I want to continue the conversations of asking you, what is your vibe today? Because I feel like that is so important that as we wake up every day, that we need to continue to assess ourselves, see how we're doing, check in our vibes. And look, if we are in a space where we are just not feeling where we are that morning or for that day, that we can reshift and we can reground throughout the day as much as we need to shift and change our vibes. So my vibe today is excited. I am super, super excited to be in the land of the living in 2026. I'm very grateful that God has allowed me to still be alive and to be able to go into this new year. And I know that, going into the new year can seem a little cliche at times. However, it's a big deal, y'all. It's a big deal when we make it 365 days in a year and we get the opportunity to start all over in a new year and begin to move forward with purpose and again to move forward with God's grace. So I'm super, super glad to have you here with me today. And as we are stepping into 2026, we are stepping into 2026 with a fresh perspective. We are leaving 2025 behind and we are thinking about 2025, not to hold us back, but to push us forward into what is in store for us in the new year. So I know that many of us start the year with energy, excitement, and sometimes even a little pressure to do it all. But instead of us doing that, instead of us rushing into resolutions, I want to encourage us to slow down. And I want to encourage us to slow down and ask ourselves, what do I truly want my life to be about this year? And so in the last episode, I encourage you to do your 2025 reflection and to do some looking forward to 2026 with curiosity and planning. And so just as I mentioned to you guys in that last episode, I did my work. I sat down and I completed those questions that I challenged you to do. And I really, really was mindful of highlighting some of the lights and the positives and the wins that took place in 2025, as well as I wrote out some things that I'm looking forward to in 2026, some things that I want to reshift and realign in my life. And I'm so excited because for me, I really, really want to move throughout this year with intention and purpose. And I really want to encourage you to do the same. So in today's episode, we're going to explore exactly what intention and purpose are, why they're so powerful, and how you can incorporate them into your daily life in a meaningful, practical way. So by the end of this episode, you guys will have a concrete steps to approach 2026 with clarity, focus, and a sense of fulfillment. And so, with that, let's dive in, y'all. Let's dive into this conversation and begin to talk about intention. So, many people confuse intentions with goals, but they're actually quite different. So, if we can define what a goal is an outcome. So, for example, that could look like something like I want to lose 10 pounds or I want to save a certain amount of money this year. That is the goal, something that we are working towards. That's something that we are working towards to produce an outcome. And if we look at intention is more about our mindsets and what our approach looks like and how we want to show up in life for ourselves. And so, for example, if we think about intention, one of the things that we can think about is, and I intend to take care of my body in ways that feel good and energize me. And so with intention, again, it's more about a mindset and an approach and how we want to show up for ourselves in our lives. And so intentions are powerful because they guide our daily actions. They give us something to really be mindful about as we go throughout the day. They're flexible, they're rooted in our values, and they give us direction even when things don't go exactly as planned. So here's a simple exercise. I want you to take a moment and I want you to ask yourself, if I could live this day aligned with my values, how would I act? What mindset would I choose? And how will I carry this out? So if we think about those reflective questions are the essence of intention. And so I really, really want you to think about that because, again, we want to move throughout this year with intention and purpose. We want to shift our mindsets and we want to align our daily actions to be conducive with the things that we intend to do, right? And so if we look at some examples of intention that we might want to adopt this year, some of them can be, I intend to approach my challenges with curiosity and not fear. And that's a big one because, again, fear overtakes us. Fear causes us to have anxiety, and sometimes fear stops us from moving forward. But if we tell ourselves, I intend to approach my challenges with curiosity and not fear, that will guide our daily actions every single day because we will make sure that we are moving purposeful and that we are moving in a way that will align with us moving in curiosity and not fear. Another example could be, I intend to show kindness to myself and others. And that could be a big one as well, because sometimes we are not kind and we are not compassionate to ourselves. However, if we move in intention of being kind to ourselves and others, it will guide our daily actions and guide what we do from day to day. And so if you look at these examples that I've given, notice that these aren't rigid goals. These are really things about how we're going to live in the moment, y'all. This is guiding us and giving us perspective of what we can do and how we can do it. And so these are things that we want to keep in mind, right? So let's shift and move and talk about purpose. Let's talk about purpose, y'all. So when we think about purpose is closely linked to intention, but it's a bit on a bigger scope. So if we look at purpose is like your why. Why do you show up every day? Why do you do what you do? It's the underlying reason you do what you do every single day. It's your driving force behind your actions. So purpose gives your life meaning and direction. So remember, think of it this way. Intention is the compass guiding your daily steps, and purpose is the destination, the overarching reason you're heading the way you're heading, the direction that you're going in. So remember that, y'all. Intention is the compass guiding your daily steps, and purpose is the destination, the overarching reason why you're heading where you're heading. So again, if we look at some examples of purpose can be helping others live healthier lives, helping ourselves live healthier lives, creating art that inspires people, building community and connection wherever we go. And a great way to discover our purpose is to reflect on three things. What energizes me? What impacts do I want to have on the people around me? And what am I naturally drawn to do? Think about that. Let that resonate in your spirit. Because again, purpose are the things that energizes us to do what we do. It's our why. Why do we show up every day? Why do we continue to be the people that we are? It's because of purpose, right? So remember, your purpose doesn't have to be huge, or it doesn't have to be something that you feel like is going to change the world. Even small actions aligned with your purpose can create incredible fulfillment. Look, y'all, I want you to take a minute, and I really want you to reflect on that. Let's make this the interactive moment. When you think of purpose and it not being huge, or it's not having to be something that's going to change the world, but knowing that even small actions aligned with our purpose can create fulfillment, I want you to write down one word that captures your purpose. What is one word that you can think of right now that captures your purpose? I want you to think about that. And I want you to write that one word down, because one of the things that I often do and I often say is that if I'm helping one person throughout the day, or if anything that I do is helping one person, then I've done my job. And so even with this podcast, even if this podcast never grows to the level of expectation that other people think that it should, if one person listens to this podcast and one person is motivated or encouraged or finds hope or joy in some form or fashion, then I've done my job. I've done my job. I often tell God that lead me and guide me in the things that I do from day to day. Like, don't let me just be out here doing things and saying things because it's the thing to do or because other people are doing it. But God, really guide my steps and lead me to the things that you would have me to do. Help me to do these things because these things that I'm doing are the things that you want me to do. And this is really where intention comes into play for me, because I intend to do the things that God has called me to do. My assignment may not look like somebody else's assignment, and somebody else's assignment may not look like mine. However, I can only move forward in the things that God has grounded me and anointed me and prepared me to do. And that's what I intend on doing. So if I continue to move in my purpose in this, and so my purpose in this and my why is I'm doing this because I want to be a blessing to somebody else, and I want to help somebody else to find hope, and I want to encourage somebody else to live. This is why I do the work that I do. And it's the same thing when I'm in my therapy room. Okay, if I can help one person to get through their challenges and navigate through whatever they're experiencing in life, then I've done my job. If I don't help every single client that I'm working with, or if I speak somewhere and I don't help every single person that's in the audience, if I can just connect with one person and I know that one person was moved or was touched by something that I said, then I know that I've done my job, and that makes me happy. That's why I do what I do. So I just want to say, living without intention or purpose can feel like we're drifting. We might often can feel like we're all over the place, and not really knowing what we're doing and why we're doing it. So have you ever gotten to the end of a day, a week, or a month and thought, where did the time go? What have I been doing for the last week? What have I been doing for the last month? That's often because we're moving without a clear direction. We don't really necessarily know what we're doing and why we're doing it, and we're not being purposeful when we do it. So research shows that people who live with purpose are more resilient, more focused, and more satisfied in life. Intentions help you stay grounded daily, while purpose gives you long-term motivation. And so when you live on purpose, y'all, you are more resilient, you're more focused, and you're more satisfied with your life. You feel good about what you're doing and how you're doing it. And again, it goes back to what I said a minute ago, that even if what you're doing only blesses or touches one person, that makes you happy. That makes your heart happy, because again, you are living and walking on purpose and in purpose. So when intention and purpose align, every decision becomes easier, y'all. You naturally choose actions that support your values and your bigger vision for life. It gets easier when you are moving with intention and when you are moving in purpose. It doesn't feel hard. It doesn't feel sticky. It doesn't feel tough. It's not like a job. When you're moving on purpose and you're moving with intention, you are moving in a way that feels good. So when you do the work that you do, again, it doesn't feel like a job, because you're doing it with joy. You're doing it with love. You're doing it with happiness. You're doing it with excitement, because you know this is what you're supposed to be doing. And what that looks like for everybody is different. What my purpose is may not be your purpose. My purpose could be just to be a blessing at home to my family and to my children and to my husband. Or my purpose could be, I just want to be out there spreading love and kindness to the world. Everybody's purpose is different, but only you can discover and find out what that looks like for you. And if for some reason you tell yourself, I don't know what my purpose is, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing or how I'm supposed to be moving and navigating through this earth and through life. Okay, if that's you, that's a question that you could sit with and that you could talk to God about and ask him, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? How can I show up every day and be a better man, be a better woman that you want me to be? How can I be out here talking to your people and having conversations and making connections with your people of something that's going to be meaningful and purposeful and something that you would have me to do? So that may be a question that you have to sit with. And that may be a question that you have to process and figure out and discover. Why do you do the things that you do? All right. Now, let's get practical. How do you bring intention into your everyday life? Let's talk about some steps that we can take to bring intention into our daily lives. So, step number 1, I want you to learn how to set daily or weekly intentions. So, this could look like you taking a few minutes each morning to set an intention for the day. So, for example, you could tell yourself, today, I intend to listen actively in conversations. Whatever you want your daily or weekly intentions to be mindful, be intentional. Set those intentions out every single day or even by the week. Step 2, use reminders. Write it down. Put sticky notes everywhere. Use your phone as alerts. A lot of people love to be on their phones. Sometimes when you see it, it reinforces our focus. So a lot of times when I'm doing therapy with people, I always encourage people to write things down, especially if it's something that is an intention or a goal or something that a person is working towards. I ask them to write it down, because y'all, believe it or not, when you write things down, it just hits different when you can look at, okay, seeing where you're going. And then also when you accomplish those things, seeing that you accomplish them just empowers you and motivates you. And it puts you in a space that makes you feel fortified and makes you feel good. So write it down. Again, put it on a sticky note, put a phone alert in your phone, because seeing it will reinforce your focus and will help you to stay aligned. So number 3, align decisions with your intentions. Before saying yes to something, ask yourself, does this align with my intention? Why do we do that? Because this helps prevent distraction, and it helps, again, to keep us on track. Remember, we are being intentional about this thing. And number 4, reflect at the end of the day. Ask yourself, did I live according to my intention for today? And if you did, I want you to celebrate that. Celebrate those small wins. And if you didn't, okay, make adjustments for tomorrow. It's about progress, y'all. It's about making daily progress every day. Remember, this is not about perfection. We are not trying to be perfect here, but we are just trying to make it day by day. And we are trying to make steps every single day towards progress. Remember, not perfection, but progress. So let's shift gears and let's talk about purpose. And let's talk about how we can turn purpose into action. So remember, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, that your purpose is your compass, but without action, it's just an idea. And so let me give you some steps on how we can turn our purpose into action. Number one, I want you to identify actions that support your purpose. So if your purpose is to help others, you might do things like volunteering, maybe mentoring, or even trying to figure out how to maybe share resources with other people to support them in whatever their needs might be. If your purpose is creativity, you might do things like, scheduling regular times to write, paint, or design, or whatever it may be, dance, if that is your purpose. But remember, we want to really identify some action steps that helps us with being able to support our purpose. Number two, we want to break purpose into achievable steps, y'all. We want to make sure that these are things that we can actually do and that we can actually follow through on, not things that we don't want it to be too hard, y'all. We don't want this to be too taxing on us that we get discouraged trying to fulfill our purpose, because if we're setting out tasks for ourselves to do and we can't follow through with them, we don't want to get discouraged and just stop it altogether. We want to make sure that we're moving forward, that we're making progress. So for example, purpose could look like, I want to inspire others to live healthier lives. And so if that is our purpose, some of the small achievable steps that we can do is maybe we can post weekly tips on our social media platforms, or either lead some type of workshop, or even start like health focused conversations to support people in their journey to living a healthier life. So remember, we want to take steps that we feel like are steps that are achievable, and steps that can be accomplished, and not things that we feel like is going to be too much for us to accomplish. And then we get discouraged and then we kind of want to give up. So last thing, step 3, is we want to revisit purpose regularly. So what I mean by this is life changes, okay? You have often heard me say that life sometimes. And it does. Life changes. And we all know that change is inevitable. Change happens in many spaces, many places, many environments. And a lot of times it's beyond our control. So with that, we want to remember that our purpose may evolve. So if we can check in quarterly with ourselves to ensure that our actions still align with what our larger why is, this will help us to stay on track again. This will help us to continue to move forward, because again, we are being intentional about this thing, right? We are really being mindful of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And this is what's going to help us. So it's okay to do those check-ins with ourselves, just to see if, hey, if I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and is my why still the same? Because sometimes I've had to ask people in therapy, okay, maybe your why shifted and maybe your why changed. And if that happens, okay, maybe that means that there's something else that maybe that you need to be doing. Because sometimes your why can change, right? Your why can change all the time. And if it does change, that's just you needing to revisit the fact that, okay, maybe this is something that I don't feel passionate about anymore. And if I don't feel passionate about this anymore, am I really going to do this with intention? And am I really going to do this with excitement and with joy? Because if I don't, then maybe this is not something for me anymore. Okay. So look, y'all, let's take a minute and do a quick exercise, and let's make this thing real for all of us. Okay. So I want you to take a moment, and I want you to do a couple of things. One, I want you to really write down one intention for this week in particular. It's Monday. No, it's not Monday. It's Friday, y'all. I'm all over the place. This new year got me all over the place, but it's Friday, y'all. So I want you to write down one intention that you intend to do for, let's say, next week, right? And I want it to be something small but meaningful. Then I want you to write down one action that aligns with your purpose. And this could be something that you're going to do maybe today to work towards next week, or either something that you're going to do next week. And then 3, I want you to commit to revisiting it every day. Notice how it changes. Notice if your focus or your mindset changes. And I want you to continue to repeat this. Rinse, wash, and repeat. And know that even tiny actions, when they're aligned with intention and purpose, it creates a ripple effect that will shape your whole year. And this is how I want you to move throughout 2026. Remember this. Living with intention and purpose isn't about perfection. Remember, we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to move with purpose, and we're trying to move with making progress and doing action steps. It's about awareness, choices, and alignment. And remember that each small decision that we make, it matters. It really does. It's only January the 2nd of 2026. And 2026 is a blank page. So it's like a restart, a redo over. The things from 2025 have transpired. They have happened. Again, we can't hold on to the past, but we could definitely reflect on the past to move us forward. So imagine yourself having a blank page. You have the pen. Will you write it, guided by intention and purpose? Or will you allow yourself to be all over the place with no sense of direction or where you're going and how you're going to do it? I just want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to take the next 24 hours, and I want you to write down your top 3 intentions and one purpose-driven action that you plan to do. And I want you to make it visible. I want you to revisit it, and I want you to let it guide your decisions for 2026. Look, y'all, I want us to really, really learn how to move forward in 2026 with intention and purpose, but also allow God to guide you along the way. One of my prayers for 2026 was not even something that was deep and was not even something that was long and drawn out. But my prayer for 2026 is for God to guide me in everything that I do, to guide me, lead me and guide me in everything that I do. Because I know that if I move with his guidance and if I follow his lead, then everywhere that I'm supposed to go, I know that I was meant to be there. Every door that opens for me in 2026, I know that God opened it for me. Every assignment that is placed on my life, if I go by God's leading in his direction, I know that that assignment is for me, and I know that he's going to equip me to do it. Every person and every connection that I make and that I encounter in 2026, if I go by God's leading and his guidance, then I know that I'm going to be okay. Because if I trust him, then I know that he's going to equip me to do everything that I need to do. Look, y'all, let's move in 2026 with intention and purpose. Let's be intentional about the things that we do. Let's make action steps, and let us continue to revisit the things that we're doing to make sure that our why has not changed. Thank you guys again for spending this time with me today. I'm really, really excited about the year ahead, and I'm really excited about the growth, the fulfillment, and the joy that's going to be created by each and every one of you. 2025 may have not been the best for a lot of us. However, we made it. We made it into 2026. And if we don't have anything else to be excited and grateful for, we can be grateful for the fact that God carried us through the good and the bad, and we're still here and we're still standing. So here's to live into 2026 with intention, purpose, and I want you to live it fully. And set your mindset to say that I'm going to welcome this year as the best year of my life. Even if everything doesn't pan out the way we want it to be, our mindset is going to say that this is the best year of my life because this year I'm moving with intention and in purpose. Dr. Niesha here. I'll see you guys as we continue this journey, because I remember all the things that we've been through. Our stories does not define who we are. We are still allowed to be intentional, and we are still allowed to move with purpose. Take care, y'all.